from fatigue, emotional weight, and premature aging, then this video is for you. Because I'm going to give you many tools and modalities that you can implement right away that will make a massive difference in your body and in your well-being and in your life. And you'll notice a shift in energy, in the way you feel about yourself, in the way you show up in life. So let's get started right away. So the most important truth that is actually critical for any shifts you want to create in your life, in your health, is the knowingness that your body heals itself. Yes, your body is fully capable and equipped and perfectly designed for self-healing, self-cleansing, and self-regeneration. So when you know this, this is a game changer, because you can step into becoming your own health authority instead of being dependent on someone else out there telling you what you should be doing. And when you really understand your body, the way it functions, and the way so-called disease is created and can also be uncreated, you are taking your power back, and you're taking control again and taking health back into your own hands, because your body always communicates with you. Your body is talking to you 24/7. It's called body talk. When you learn to understand the messages of your body, life changes, because you will actually be able to tune in, and you will notice, what is actually when something is off, and you will also know which lifestyle changes to make and how to correct any imbalance with the tools that I'm going to give you today. So if you implement all these tools that I'm sharing today, and you use them with consistency, let's say 30 days, you will notice a shift, a tremendous shift in your life. So the most important thing is understanding that you can actually heal yourself. You can become your own healer, and it's all possible. I've seen it all. I experienced it myself, and I've seen it in hundreds of clients I worked with. So you are capable of so much. We just have been numbed, and we have been dumbed down in our knowledge, and we have not been taught the right information in school that will actually support us on this journey. So now it's about knowing you can take your power back, and you can step into becoming your own healer by really understanding your body, learning body language first of all, really knowing to listen to your body, because we're not being taught to listen, because the body communicates to you when you really truly tune in and listen to the messages. And we have not been taught to really decode the messages of the body. But once you do, everything will shift from there. So pain is not bad. Pain is simply a sign that there's something out of alignment, something out of balance, something needs to be paid attention to here. So your body is communicating to you. If you have any pain and discomfort in your body, that is a message of your body. It's a sign something needs to shift. You can't keep doing the same things as you've always done, because that has gotten you to the place where you currently are. So you got to take new action steps, new changes you have to create. You have to create lifestyle shifts in the way you eat, in the way you move, in the way you breathe, in the way you think, in the way you show up, in the way you manage your stress, in the way you master your emotions, in the way you connect, because connection is also a big piece. So we got to really create a new lifestyle. If we have something in your body is no longer functioning the way it used to, that is simply a sign you can't keep doing the same things again. And what works in your 20s and 30s no longer works in your 40s and 50s. So we got to create changes. And also knowing the body is one entire system. It is one system that consists of many smaller systems and fluids and parts. And all this is interconnected, it's related, and they all work in harmony together. So we got to address the whole system, not just a part, okay? That's a big piece, because healing is holistic, and we have to address all areas: physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, relational, creative, sexual. All these areas have to be addressed. No stone can be left unturned. We have to address all areas And we have to see healing is an integrative process. It's body, mind, spirit. That's the foundation for everything. The body heals itself. Healing is system approach, and it's a root cause approach. That means we got to always get to the root cause of the situation. It's not just about addressing symptoms, because symptoms are simply the communication from the body. So symptoms are not bad. They're actually a sign. Your body is giving you a wake-up call. It's telling you something needs to shift here. You need a change in your life. You have to pay attention. It's not about numbing the symptoms or suppressing the symptoms. It's about learning the lesson from the symptoms and then making changes by creating new ways of living your life. I'm going to give you many different tools how you can make those changes. But the number one piece is starting to eat real food, not food from packages. That is no longer real food. That is a product made by men. So we want to start eating real food that was created by Mother Nature in all the colors of the rainbow. What does Mother Nature provide? That's always the question here. And you want to get food that's exposed to sunlight, because everything that hangs up on a tree is infused with sun energy. So when you're eating, let's say, fruits, you're eating sun energy. You're filling yourself with light. And we are light beings. So we thrive on light. So we need food, when you really get this, that's filled with light. Also food have an electricity. So you're nourishing yourself with electricity, and as a result, you become electric. So we want to go high on the fruits. And the fruits are actually demonized. There's so much misinformation out there. There's too much sugar and causes cancer, which is a complete lie. Fruit have a simple sugar. It's actually the fuel that your body needs to optimally function. The fruits, they fuel your brain. You actually become more creative. You become happier. You become more blissful. It just opens you up to a whole new paradigm. The fruits also clean your blood. And we all know the quality of your blood is directly linked to how healthy you are. And the fruits also, they clean you up. They're detoxifying. So when you're eating fruits, you're cleaning your gut. And we all heard the gut is your second brain, or the gut is even the brain. But gut and brain is related. So to have a clean gut means sharp brain, being alert, being focused, having massive creativity, massive flow of just like solution and ideas and massive creativity and artistry. All that comes from the ideas from your brain. So you want to get a sharp brain and a clean gut, and fruit will give you both. Okay, so you want to always go high on the fruits. You want to eat a lot of raw living foods. If you eat live food, that gives you life force. And all raw living foods, they have enzymes. Enzymes are critical to break down the food, to help them digest and to help the body eliminate it. So when you cook your food, you're destroying your enzymes. So you always want to have every day more raw living foods than cooked food. If you still have some cooked meals, you have a salad with a big salad with lots of greens. Greens are anti-inflammatory. They lower the inflammation in your body. In all conditions in your body, it really means you have inflammation. So we always want to lower the inflammation, and we want to go on a diet that is anti-inflammatory. The way to do this is to eat fruits and salads. That's an anti-inflammatory diet. Lots of greens, lettuce, cucumber, parsley, cilantro. We want to go high on the greens to lower the inflammation in the body. Also, they give you lots of life force. It's a living food that gives you life. So if you want to be vibrant and living, you need living foods, not dead food from packages, okay? And you want to eat the colors of the rainbow. If you eat colors, you naturally become more colorful as a person. You become more vibrant. Whatever you eat emanates out of you. Always remember that. What you take in, that's the energy you're sending out there. So if you want to be vibrant, if you want to be full of life force, you need living foods, not dead food from packages, not products created by man that are filled with chemicals and artificial sweeteners and preservatives. That actually lowers the frequency in your body and it creates stagnation in your body. And really all conditions, all with any illness, any disease is really assigned as stagnation in your body. The energy is no longer flowing. And you want to see your body, it's like a system of rivers and streams, and everything has to move and flow in order to create beautiful energy flow and life force can flow. So if you eat a lot of processed food, a lot of dense, heavy food, that creates stagnation in the body. And that's like a river that has a dam. So when a river has a dam, what happens? Things start to form and build where the dam is. And same thing in the body. When there's a stagnation, things start to grow. And the more things are growing, the less the energy flows. And when something grows, the body is no longer functioning the way it used to. And then those growths, if they get bigger, they will be diagnosed as a tumor, a cyst, a fibroid, or whatever name it is. But it all comes down, there's something growing in your body that comes from stagnation. The energy is stagnated. Nothing is flowing the way it's meant to be. So the way to get healthy is to open up the flow again. Open up the clogging so everything can move and flow again the way it's supposed to. And then you can live your life in flow states. That means you're flowing through life, even those challenging situations. Even you have some things are happening to you that are unfortunate or so-called challenging, you can move through them because you have the stamina and the strength and the life force that allows you to move through difficult situations. And you can actually see it. The more clearer your mind is, the better focused you are, the more clarity you have, the more easier you can see difficult situations. And you know the solutions. You know how to show up. You know what to say. You know how to get things back in alignment. Because at the end, it's all about energy. So life is about moving energy. Daily, you want to move the energy. As I mentioned, you want to eat clean food that keeps opening up the stagnation in your body. It's removing the waste from your digestive tract, and things start to move and flow again, and you have energy naturally. You don't need a stimulant to get you going. You are full of energy because energy is created from within. Yes, that's a big piece. It's not something you have to take in order to have energy. Energy comes from within because your body is a light vessel. It naturally creates energy. It's an electromagnetic light vessel that creates energy daily through the breath, through by what you're feeding it, by how you show up, what you do each day. So another big piece, as I mentioned, is the breath. You want to learn how to breathe deeply and to also release deeply, because we all hold stagnant air in the lungs. It's critical to release that by learning how to do deep breathing every single day and to get your body moving. And walking is not enough, okay? I'm saying this with so much love. You want to get moving in a way that gets you sweating, that gets your heart pounding, that actually gets you deep breathing. That's the kind of movement we all need. We live in this stagnant society where people sit most of the time. And sitting, as you know, is the new smoking. So you don't want to spend so much time sitting. You want to get moving. Energy needs to move. Okay, if you have a desk job, you take breaks. Every hour you take a break, you move around, you go outside, you twist your body, you move it, you shake it, you stretch it, all different ways. But you want to be constantly in motion. Life is about being motion and stillness. So we need both. But most people are too much in the still space, and that creates stagnation. And they're actually not even still. The body might be still, but the mind is like racing, boom, boom, boom. So it's not really stillness to begin with. It's the state of stagnation. So if you want to be healthy and vibrant, you got to move the energy, okay? By sharing also your gift, by sharing what you have to bring here in this world. We all have a special gift. That's how you move energy, by sharing your wisdom, sharing your teaching, sharing of your energy, sharing your talents and your skills. And the gift that you have, your unique voice, your unique medicine, needs to be shared with the world on a daily basis. Otherwise, you're not fully embodied in your purpose. And then also, you know, we all need some regular detoxing. And I'm actually really big on detoxing. And most people don't want to detox. because it's uncomfortable, but we are bombarded with so many chemicals on a daily basis, like much more than our parents or grandparents like many years ago. So we're daily bombarded with chemicals. Our food is sprayed with chemicals. Even you eat organic, there's still chemicals in it. And even you grow your own garden, you get sprayed by chemtrails that goes in the food. So there's no more surviving without chemicals. We all are exposed to chemicals. So that's why it's critical to do regular detoxing. It makes all the difference in the world if you want to be a person with lots of energy, because all these toxins, at some point, there's too much overload of toxicity in your body, and the liver can no longer handle it. And that creates also stagnation. It's an overload of toxins. And that creates fatigue, feeling heavy, not being able to get up in the morning. Because the ideal should be, your natural state is to wake up in the morning with lots and lots of energy. Not needing a coffee or something to get you out of bed. Not even needing an alarm clock. You wake up naturally because you are done with sleeping. And you are here to create. You are on the mission. You wake up in the morning full of energy. You are inspired. You have something that drives you to get you going through the day. So you wake up naturally because you're here to make a difference today. You're here to create something. You're here to inspire. You're here to empower. You're here to be your greatest contribution. That's what you're here for. And if you really embody it in this frequency, you're naturally waking up in the morning. Yes, let's go. You're someone on a mission. And most people, they need an alarm clock to wake you up. They need their coffee first. They need something to get them going, to finally be moving. And then they go to a job they don't like. They just do it so they get paid, so they can pay their bills. And one day they can retire. And that is mediocre living. It's actually the rat race, and it's a vicious cycle. So if you're still in that cycle, please know there is a way out. First of all, you got to be clear, what is my gift here? And how can I bring my gift out in this world? If you don't know what your gift is, it's time to clear the mind out of all the stuff and to clean out the body of the waste and toxins. Because what happens when you do cleansing, detox, not just your body becomes cleaner, your mind becomes clearer, and all of a sudden you will get messages from within. Your heart will actually guide you towards what's best for you, because your heart knows. And deep down inside, you know why you're here, and you know your purpose. But if there's a lot of stagnation in your body, a lot of waste, a lot of toxins, a lot of mental activity, lots of unresolved emotions that is stored in the body, it's very hard to hear these messages from the body and the communication from your heart. But once you clear out your vessel, you become more light-filled, and you're riding the lighter frequency, you will clearly hear the messages from within, and you will be guided towards what's best for you. You will actually be naturally given ideas. You will be given things to explore and what action steps to take. No one needs to actually tell you what your purpose is and why you're here, what you should be doing. You will be naturally guided from within. But it requires clearing up that vessel, becoming really pure and clean and connected. And then you will be guided by your heart. Your body will communicate with you if something is off. And then you will also know how to correct any imbalance and what lifestyle changes you need to make. And it all comes from within, because life is an inside journey. Everything starts within. Okay, it's not out there. No one needs to tell you out there what you should be doing or who you are. And no one actually needs to tell you about your body, because your body knows. You know your body the best. But sadly, most people are so disconnected from themselves, and they're looking for the answers out there, looking for guidance, looking for love, looking for everything out there, when at first it's an inside job first. You create it within, and then naturally you will be led towards your highest, always. And if you face any challenges in your life, there's simply a lesson here. I always say there's only blessings and lesson. That's it. So if you don't like what's happening in your life right now, there are some tremendous lessons available. There's actually powerful teachings in these so-called challenges, because they're simply lessons, they are opportunities, they are invitations for you to rise higher and to see what no longer resonates with you. So from there, you create clarity. Contrast always creates clarity. You have a challenge, you will get a lesson there, and there's gold in any challenge. You just have to look for the gold. So you have to become a gold digger, to look in this challenging situation, in difficult people. What are these people telling you? What lessons are they giving you? Because everyone is always your mirror. It's the sacred mirror here pointing right back at you. So when you get triggered by someone, there's simply a message here, something you need to pay attention to, something you have to look at. Where is that within me? The trigger is a treasure. It's pointing out something within you. So there's a valuable lesson here. So life always gives you lesson. But when we cleanse our body, when we become more conscious, and another big piece is meditation. And I always say this is something most people don't want to do because they think it's boring to sit down and meditate. But meditation is actually not just sit down and become quiet and empty. It is actually something all day long. It's cultivating presence, deep presence. So when we learn to be still and empty, what happens? You're stilling the body, but you're stilling the mind. Let go of the thought pattern. And when you do this long enough consistently and you really practice it, you learn to step out of yourself and witness yourself in a whole new way. So you're in situations, that's why meditation is not just on your cushion, it's all day long. When you're in a situation with people, you can step out of yourself and you become the witness of the situation. And you can feel when the energy is off, and also you know how to bring the energy back in alignment and what to say, how to show up. And that also requires practice. But this is really being the witness and the observer of your life, and then making empowered choices. Not living in a reactionary mode. Something happens, you're reacting to it, but rather you respond from a higher place, from a place of being empowered. Always ask the question, what would love do? How would love respond in that situation? What would Jesus Christ do in that situation? What would Buddha do? That's the question you want to ask. That is always the most important thing, instead of just reacting. Something happens, someone says something or does something, you react on autopilot. And you're reacting from a wound deep within you, from a pattern that's been running since childhood. So we live life on autopilot. It's default mechanism. Something happens, reaction. Something happens, reaction. And that is not empowered living. Empowered living is something happens and you pause, you center, you get back in your power, in your stillness, and from such a place you make a higher choice. You make an empowered choice by asking, what would love do? And then you respond from that place. And that is a shift, complete shift. You're actually rewiring your internal operating system. You become literally a new person. And that's how we break these old patterns that actually hook us into a small life, into a disempowered life, into mediocre life. But when we unhook from these old patterns and become conscious and then tune into the higher frequency and respond from a higher place, that's how we rewire our entire system. We become a new person. Our whole brain waves. We create new neural pathways in the brain and literally become a new person. This is so powerful. Meditation will support you on this journey. Eating a clean diet with lots of fruit and raw living foods will support you to have a clean vessel, clear mind. When your vessel is clean and pure, your mind is clear and sharp and focused, you can make high choices. Absolutely. But when you're all clogged up, you're stagnant, your body is dense and heavy, and there's pain and stagnation and stiffness and all kinds of condition, it's very hard to make the higher choices. We usually react from victimhood, from not feeling good enough about yourself. So these pieces are critical pieces that will change your life. Clean diet, regular detox, And I'm especially speaking here about water fasting. If you've never water fasted before, maybe it's something you want to explore. You start with 1 day, because what happens when you stop eating, your digestive system is getting a big break. And our digestive system takes most of our energy. So when you eat all day long your body's digesting and it takes all your energy. There's no energy left for creation and for higher choices and higher consciousness. So we want to stop the eating process, and then the body goes into pause and cleaning up your digestive tract, cleaning up the internal organs. Everything is, especially on longer fasts, what happens, everything is being rearranged. Everything is being cleaned out and upgraded. And after a fast, everything functions more optimally. Your mind becomes so much sharper. You suddenly see things differently. You experience things differently. Everything becomes heightened. Your perception is more aware and heightened. And you can see things from a wider horizon. And you become more happy. You become more joyful because the heaviness goes away. And that's where most people are in a very heavy frequency. It's this low energy, constant fatiguing, and constantly making it through the day, like suffering, constant. Like every day it feels like hard, and life feels hard. Everything feels difficult, and all these difficult situations. That is because there's a lot of density in the system. But once we clear out the density and you become more light-filled, you feel lighter, but also you hold more light within you and around you. You become that light frequency, electromagnetic light vessel. You radiate, your aura becomes more radiating, and you can tap into the fields of other people and really sense their energy. And naturally, your mind will just give you so much inspiration and ideas for your life. This is a very powerful process. But if you've never experienced, I recommend, being open to doing a detox, a cleanse, ideally a 3-day water fast. But if you've never done it, you start with 1 day. But 3 days, on the 3rd days, that's when the magic happens. Because your body creates new stem cells. And that is incredible. Stem cells are young, healthy, youthful cells. And people pay a lot of money for stem cell therapy. It's several $1,000s, I think up to $10,000 or beyond. That's how much you pay for stem cell therapy. But fasting will give you free stem cell therapy. Isn't that amazing? Also, when you fast, you don't need to buy food. That's actually, you save money. And you don't need to prepare food. You save time. So fasting gives you more time, more money, and it gives you so much clarity and more happiness, more energy after the fast. Everything is upgraded. And I always say, fasting is like being on nature's operating table. Surgery is being performed on you, but without a knife. It's a natural process. And that is, of course, it's not pleasant. So being on a fast is not pleasant. All kinds of stuff will come up because the toxins are being stirred up and moved out and released, and that is unpleasant. So you can have all kinds of symptoms, but it's part of the journey. But then afterwards, you feel like newborn, and you suddenly feel like wake up with so much energy and just happy for no reason. Many people experience that. They wake suddenly up in the morning and they're just smiling, and I experienced that many times. I fasted many, many times. I actually fasted 300 days between 2017 and 2023. That was 6 years of fasting, where I fasted 300 days, water only. But the amount of healing I experienced, especially emotional healing, was unbelievable. And the energy and the joy and the happiness that I would just wake up crying, being so happy and just wanting to share the joy. And this is a joy that comes from deep within. It's not the joy you need, someone says something to you, gives you a compliment or a gift, and you experience some joy. It's a joy that comes from within you, that springs forth from within naturally, like happy for no reason and just wanting to share the happiness with everyone and having such creative outbursts that you just feel like you want to create all day long. You can write entire books. I wrote an entire book just after a fast because it just was downloaded onto me. Because when your vessel is clear, just things just come to you. That not just come to you, but they come from within, and you can tap into the field with all the information you ever need is all in the field. You can tap into that and just immerse yourself in this field, and it comes from within. The truth starts speaking through you. Creativity starts bursting out of you. Your purpose becomes crystal clear. Joy and love is just like bubbling out of you. It's oozing out of you. And all you want to do is just share it with others. And that is possible when we fast. We get rid of the dense energy, of the heaviness, of unresolved emotions that we store in the body. You know, all childhood trauma is stored in the body, in the tissues, in the cells. Unresolved emotions, resentment you have against other people, anger, guilt, shame, grief, loss, it's all stored in your body, in your cells. That's why people feel so heavy, because they carry so much trauma and so many emotions with themselves. But when you cleanse out your temple, you release that, you become so much lighter. And yes, there might be unpleasant emotions come up, such as, you know, you might be crying during a fast, which I experienced many times, but this is such a healthy release, releasing this heavy weight of emotions we carry. Most of people carried a lifetime with them. That's why life feels heavy. But when we cleanse, we release that heaviness and this dense energy and the stagnation in the body, and things start to move and flow, and the energy just becomes magnetic. And that is possible when you use all these tools that I mentioned to you before, like clean diet, regular detox, getting yourself moving every single day, not just moving, like shaking, dancing, everything you can do just to get yourself activated. Deep breathing and spinal health, another piece, because you're only as healthy as the flexibility of your spine. So if your spine is stagnant and there's a lot of calcification in your spine, it's very difficult to be connected to your emotions and release these emotions. Also, the spine is the axis of your nervous system. So a big piece of being healthy is having a regulated nervous system. But when your spine has a lot of stagnation and is tight, it's very difficult to, you basically live in fight or flight all the time, and you're constantly in alert and in this defense mode. So we want to get a flexible spine by getting the spine moving, by doing yoga, Pilates, getting your spine, you know, twisting to both sides, bending, backward bending, forward bending, all kinds of exercise with the spine. It's another big piece of health. And most people, their spine is like really dense. So if that's another piece that it's critical. All these pieces go together, as you see. I mentioned before, the body is one system. It's not just doing one thing. You want to have all these pieces in place. But if you do with consistency, if you apply all the tools that I gave you today for the next 30 days, I can guarantee you there will be a shift in your energy, in your happiness, in the way you feel, in the way your body feels. There's massive, massive transformation available. And imagine you do this for a year. What is available? You look back and you don't recognize the person that you used to be because there was such a tremendous transformation taking place. So I want to leave you with that, and thank you for being open. And if you're ready to break free from the heaviness you experience and the fatigue and premature aging, then I invite you to stay connected. Leave a comment below, share this video with your friends, and most importantly, subscribe. I'm going to have many, many offerings over the next few days and weeks, how to live vibrant health and ageless vitality at any age. And that means on a physical, emotional, mental, spiritual level, relational. I'm going to share communication tools, how to be in any situation with any person without being triggered. Now that is power, because we are so affected by what other people are saying, and pretty much all breakdowns in relationships come from not being able to communicate. And communication is really the art of listening. And it's about the tone. It's about what's happening between the words. It's about what's not being spoken. What happens in those silences? What is the energy really in the room or in the relationship with the other person? That's another big piece, relational health and communication skills. So I'm going to share many free tools, so stay tuned on this channel. And as I mentioned before, if you haven't done so, please subscribe and share this channel with others so other people can also tune into what's actually available. And we all here, we can take our power back instead of being dependent on a system, a healthcare system that has nothing to do with health, which is about disease management. And we don't want to be managed. We want to be able to have vibrant health, and this is possible. But it's about taking our power back, and instead of relying on others, we want to get so connected to our body that we know we have the answers, because it's all within. And you become your own health authority. Isn't that powerful? And you are so anchored and rooted and grounded in yourself that nothing can shake you. Nothing will make you collapse anymore. You can be with any person in any conversation and not needing to defend yourself or trying to get them on your side or not needing to judge anyone. You actually have this centeredness in your being. You are a person who is whole in themselves, whole and complete. You don't need anything from outside because you know everything is within you, and life is the inside journey most of all, and that's the path we're all on. So I thank you for listening and being here today, and have a wonderful day.